Life at a height entertains many of man's giddy curiosities. Although the Strait of Gibraltar is a mere 8 miles in diameter, these Barbary macaques are a far cry from their peers in Africa. Representing the only non-captive monkeys in Europe, it is fortunate their degree of remoteness is never realised nor felt, as they endow their daily occupations with their own survivorship and social politics. The Rock of Gibraltar accommodates at least 8 recognised troops of Barbary macaque, each organised into their own hierarchies for a chaos of fights, favours and strategy. At first glance, they may seem a wild entropy strewn across grassy swathes of pallid rock, but upon closer inspection, there is a disturbing, albeit enlightening reveal of their parallels with those of human society. In the west face of the rock, some roads connect the vacant remains of Rook Battery with the south-facing Spur Battery, stationed proudly over the sea. Bypassing the tourist hotspot of St Michael's Cave and leading all the way to the Windsor Bridge, this road inhabits an eclectic group of macaques that have made themselves very familiar with tourists. This is the troupe of Royal Anglian Way. Barbary macaque troops are led by females. Tonight, the elderly matriarch Alice sits placidly on a wall, while the well-fed Star prepares to become her successor. Female macaques on the rock can be recognised by their rounder body shapes and large estrus swelling on their backsides. Females of the lower ranks sit more on the outside of the group, as they risk conflict venturing towards the centre. Further down the wall from Alice, Lucy sits alone, as a low-rank female who knows her place. In males, the order of rank is more open to change, and harder to distinguish. For now, the leaders include Coco, a healthy male in his prime, distinguishable by his dark face and robust build. But whilst Coco likes to spend a lot of time in the trees, harmony between individuals is kept on the ground by the troop's self-allocated peacekeeper, Grumps, who has spent his years establishing authority and maintaining an excellent track record of ensuring group cohesion, especially amongst the ladies. Despite the unwelcoming signature scowl, his meticulous grooming rituals have bribed many of the troop's females into friendliness with him, even Alice's, to the point of him being able to demand for a groom back, with compliance. Competition between males depends highly on the value of resource at risk. Higher-ranking males can mount males of lower ranks to assert their dominance, whereas others may defend themselves from aggression by presenting their backside in truce. Although lacking in a visible tail, the Barbary macaques are no longer recognised as apes. Their ancestors had a tail made for climbing through jungle foliage, but this lost its purpose in the woodland and rocky habitats of Morocco. On the rock, the evening is the quietest time. As the sun lowers and visitors begin to retreat to their homes, The troop must fill their stomachs and find a safe place to rest. Despite their freedom of movement, Gibraltar's macaques are only semi-wild, due to their containment within the rock and provision of food from the nature reserve. Just before sunset, the Royal Anglian troop embark on a well-timed pilgrimage to their peanut area for dinner. This is an especially exciting time of day for Star, who likes to store extra peanuts in pouches in her cheeks for later. However, not everyone has a claim to the game as strong as she does. Others must work to earn their keep. Grooming is one way to appease an acquaintance, but such physical contact can often require permission from the recipients. The chattering of teeth is a friendly gesture of affiliation or reassurance that the performer's intentions are peaceful and they mean no harm. Grooming is a major tactical currency deployed among Barbary macaques for the trade of access to food and social acceptance. It reduces stress levels and keeps their fur clean. Young subordinates may wish to find their own place in society and please a dominant male by approaching them, although not all fans will be appreciated by their idol. While the group continue to convene at the peanut market, one member quietly slips away to assess the sleeping area for safety. The nearest designated bedtime area is Spur Battery, a tall concrete expanse overlooking the azure Mediterranean waters and mountainous periphery of Morocco. The left of the battery meets a cliff edge adorned with rocky ledges and vegetation, all shaded from the blaze of the hot evening sun. But it isn't just the coastal views that make this battery so attractive to these macaques. Something has been spotted near the top of the cliff. Rivals. O'Hara's troops sit at the terminus, which bears bad news for the group of Royal Anglian Way. This individual has intuitively used the battery to scan for the whereabouts of neighbouring troops before the approach of her companions. And they are not the only threats to her troops' peace. On the right of the battery, far below the rocks, the Levant troop have also made their presence clear. This could be a bad brawl for her troop to be in the middle of, making the wise decision that this is not a safe place to sleep for the night. This careful female guides the rest of the troop, who were still too busy snacking, to an alternative place of rest. The journey to Rook Battery is longer, but more downhill and worth the avoidance of bad blood with other troops. However, despite the straightforwardness of the road, it is a tedious journey, filled with distractions along the way. Unfortunately, the recent evenings of this year have been tense. The arrival of two new infants in the troop, Mowgli and Boots, have imposed responsibility onto some, but cunning opportunity to others. marks Mowgli's first week on Earth. She relies on her mother for transport, water, and meals in the form of breast milk, as she has no canines yet to break down solid food. Barbary mothers will often accept a friend to help with parental care. This is called allo-parenting and can sometimes include males. Allo-parenting alleviates responsibility from the mother while she forages for herself and promotes the possibility of adoption in case the mother dies. In return, the friend is provided with protection and perhaps even respect from other members of the troop. Like in human society, carers of newborn macaques are treated gently with sensitivity. It is plausible that parental behaviour in an individual is favourable to other macaques, which grants the carer immunity from aggressive outbursts and exclusion. However, some have seen this guaranteed shield as an opportunity. It is difficult being a subordinate male. You are not the first to access food, nor females, and your fur is not groomed as often as your superiors. In some cases, you may risk being cast out of the troop entirely. All Jack needs is something that will improve his relations with the other males in the group. To befriend Grumps would be a powerful thing, but he would need something to show how worthy he is of his tolerance and care. Like an infant. Every interaction is a delicate dance of dominance and care. Jack chatters his teeth at the mother to show her he means no harm, and this is also directed at the infant to reassure its safety. Unfortunately, Jack has targeted the wrong female. The mother is of low rank and therefore attracting little support from her peers. She manoeuvres alone, despairingly but tentatively, so not to hurt the infant or anger its holder. Jack's intentions are clear as he cradles Mowgli, a strategic move to garner favour among the males. But the infant's distress is palpable, its cries for its mother echoing. The infant is hungry, and that is one thing no amount of reassurance from Jack can provide. The mother, weak in status, faces an uphill battle. Her attempts to groom and chatter at Jack in bribery are met with resistance, and her anxiety becomes increasingly visible. With less than 1 week in life experience, Mowgli continues to cry with increasing desperation. For the mother, persistence pays off. After a prolonged grooming session with Jack, she secures intimacy with her baby. However, it might be too late. But thankfully, it isn't. To relieve stress and establish a social bond with him for returning her baby, she continues to groom him whilst breastfeeding Mowgli. The show is at last over for her. But for Jack, this is merely an interval. He has not yet achieved his ultimate aim of establishing bonds with the other males, so there is still plenty of work to be done on his part. After failure with this mother, he eyes up an alternative. The second infant of the troop, Boots, is just under 2 months old. Stumbling across the pebbles, he is just learning to walk. However, like many toddlers, Boots has acquired an annoying habit of just wandering off. His mother is watchful, but cannot please the curious infant all the time. For Jack, this makes his plan B all the more easier. The mother is anxious for Boots in the arms of the opportunistic but desperate Jack. However, this female has more support. She has accepted the guardianship of Grumps, who, seeing a ripple in the calm, volunteers to intervene. In the company of a high-ranking female and attentive males, the mother finally regains her solace. Boots now receives plenty of positive attention too, by a caring crowd. Luckily, this outcome was not a failure for her antagonist either. Jack, now tolerated by Grumps and others, has finally achieved his goal of securing a social bond with higher-ranking males. Although still liable to change, he now receives the inclusion and access to resources he wanted. At least for this evening, he has successfully made friends. Unfortunately, the tactic of using infants as a buffer to make friends is not effective for everyone. Although Jack was inferior to Grumps and a couple of the other males, he was not at the very bottom of the pile. For an outcast like Max, the centre of the troop is so far away that redemption is almost impossible. It is not unusual for the lowest rank macaques in the troop to be left behind when the others move on to find food and shelter. Migrating between troops is normal for male macaques. Max has come from another troop and has spent months persevering to fit in with the group Royal Anglian Way, but is making very little progress. He is only able to groom low-ranked females, such as Maria, a very elderly member of the group now deemed useless. He may try his luck with grooming a male, but is often met with failure and a vulgar reminder of their gap in dominance. It is probable that, for the rest of his lifetime, Max will almost never be groomed, never mate, and will be the last to access food and shelter. In the Royal Anglian Way troop, it is imperative his social standing must change to continue his livelihood of genetic legacy, but for now, he settles down to sleep alone in the embrace of an old tree. It is a cynical but tempting thought to observe the many misleading layers of human subtlety and etiquette, and yet still wonder if underneath, our own social laws are really so different to theirs. As dusk darkens, the troop of Royal Anglian Way are reminded that they must rest up for another day of responsibilities tomorrow. Grumps will wake up to another dutiful day of guardianship, and Star will wake up to first dibs at the buffet again. The babies will spend another day in the spotlight, and the lower ranks will keep scheming to appease their superiors so they can keep their memberships. It is funny that a troop of monkeys, who at first all look so similar, can be so different. But what they do all share in common is a comfort in the quiet, with the Rock of Gibraltar standing sentinel over their dreams.